911. What are you reporting?
I cannot find my son.
How old is he?
He's 19, but he normally comes by. He's got his own apartment. He normally comes by, like every couple days, and I haven't seen him in a week. And I sent another son over to his apartment last night, and the door was open. Everything was on, but he wasn't there. And that's not like him to leave the apartment open. And I went over there this morning, a little bit ago, and he's not there. And his manager is, looks right at his apartment. And he hasn't seen him since, he said he has not seen him in a week either, and I am so scared. He didn't show up to work last night. He's just missing.
Hold on just a second, I'm arriving.
Hang on just a second.
Has he ever not shown up to work before?
No.
Where does he work?
He works at Teletech, and also at Discordia Games.
I'm sorry, he works where?
Teletech.
You're sure he hasn't done that in the past?
I'm positive.
When your other son was over there last night and found the door open and the TV on, did he go in?
Yes.
Did it look like someone had just left, or?
He didn't know. He just thought, wow, it's not like him to leave the door unlocked, so he sat down for a few minutes thinking maybe he just ran down to the store.
Didn't come back.
And he just didn't come back. So
what's his missing son's name?
Joe.
Joseph?
Uh-huh.
Middle name?
David.
Last name?
Pichler, P as in Paul, I-C-H-L-E-R.
And his date of birth?
February 14th, 87.
White male?
Uh-huh.
About how tall do you know?
Oh, gosh. Maybe 6'1".
You know how much he weighs?
He's an absolute rail, so whatever a rail would be at 6'1".
I'll check his driver's license for that. What color is his hair?
Kind of a light brown.
Color of his eyes?
Hazel.
Do you have a beard or a mustache?
No.
Is it any piercings, like ears, nose, whatever?
No.
Any scars, marks, or tattoos?
Yes, he has some kind of a red circle, kind of a Star Wars thing, like on the inside of his arm, between the wrist and elbow.
Which arm?
Right. And his skin over the last year, I don't know what the heck is going on, but it's gotten so bad. So his whole face is just this big red scar.
What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Kathy.
Is it C or a K?
K.
Last name?
Same.
As his?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And your address?
615 Pennsylvania Avenue.
And your phone number?
377-3364.
And the address where he lives?
Oh, my God. I don't even know. He lives at the Park Ridge Apartments. And, I never even pay attention. I just know exactly where it is. I've got the number for the manager.
Just a second. Park Ridge Apartments?
Uh-huh. And I've got a phone number for the manager.
Oh, hang on just a second.
That was the maintenance. That is the third.
Copy, I'll send you this.
Hang on, I've got radio traffic too. Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, Park Ridge Apartments. Do you have any idea what street they're on? Because I'm not getting anything in my information that there's any such apartment complex, which means nothing. But
what street does Joe live on? Yeah.
What's the phone number for the manager? I'll call him and ask.
373-1635,
Uh-huh.
and his name is Al.
Okay. And what apartment does your son live in, do you know?
What's the number on it? Is it 213 or 210 or something? Yeah. 210? 210 or 213, I'm not sure. Like I said, we just, I know how to just drive there and go up to the door.
Well, they're going to need to know which apartment to bang on.
The manager can tell you.
Okay.
I just talked to him, and he's worried, too. He hasn't seen him in a week.
Does he have a car?
Yes.
What kind of car?
2005 Toyota Corolla, silver.
Color. Oh, okay. You don't know the license, do you?
No.
Okay, and you're 377-3364?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have somebody get in touch with you.
Okay, is that going to be in just a little while?
Probably within the next hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, bye. Bye.
No new messages. Message 1 from phone number 360-337-7687. Received today at 11:20 a.m.
Yes, Chief Rogers, Robert Body, 337-7687. Right now I'm a little bit disturbed and upset. So, in reference to this Joe Pichler and them going down, Detective Davis going down to Texas, interviewing my son on a crime tipper stop that he killed somebody and we're covering up for him. I tell you what, if somebody puts that allegation out there and stuff, there's going to be some big trouble in the Bremerton Police Department and stuff. And I'm not threatening anyone. This isn't a threat. This will be handled in a legal way and stuff. But I'm really confused. My son is an outstanding young man doing good in the Air Force, and he ain't killed nobody and stuff. So I don't know if this is something personal or with whatever, but whoever's doing with whatever they're doing, they better be real careful. So you can give me a call at 337-7687. Have a nice day.
End of message.
Hey, do you have like your ID card on you?
I do not. I lost it.
You lost it?
Yeah.
Let me get a little bit of info from you. So is it
Bouton?
T-O-N?
Yeah, you can pronounce it Bhutan. My dad's French.
But how did you actually pronounce it?
Bouton.
Bouton. Okay. Yeah. And what's your first name?
James.
And how about a middle initial for you?
B.
And what's your date of birth?
April 23rd, 1985.
Just had a birthday, huh?
Yeah.
And what's an address for you?
I don't really have one right at the moment. I just use like my parents.
Get mail?
Yeah.
Where's that? 575
Juniper Street. That's Bremerton, Washington. 98310.
And what's a good phone number for you?
I don't really have a number. That's why I just like showed up. 360-373-3745. That's my parents.
Is that parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of don't really talk at the moment.
Okay, so let me just real quick. I mean, you realize you're not in trouble, right? So
Okay, yeah.
I know we kind of got the door closed here for
Yes,
privacy,
sir.
but you're free to leave anytime. You understand
Yeah.
that?
Well,
Okay.
I know.
And I just want to make sure we have your permission to record this interview.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, hey, I just got briefed on this. There's been a detective that's been working it for several years,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I think I met him before, but like that's because I used to date the daughter, Samantha Pichler.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm trying to see if I had assisted some. I don't know if I remember all the names, so if I have to
yeah, that's
have you remind me, I might have to do that. So, yeah. Did you ever talk to Detective Gray?
like on the phone when they were like asking for Sam.
Oh, okay.
But this is like like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was a female detective. Does that sound right?
Actually, it was a guy.
Was it a guy?
Yeah, it was some guy, some investigator guy or something. I didn't really know much about it. You know.
So, did you meet with Officer Rivera? You had a little bit of info?
Yeah, yesterday. I was in the hospital because I caught an ulcer. And just,
Okay, that's not
drugs,
good.
Yeah, and alcohol and all that. And then, I requested a detective and an officer in the hospital, but they were like, you got to do that on your own time. So I was like, all right. So when I got out, I was just like, man, I'm just going to call Kathy, you know. That's Joe's mom, so I gave her a buzz, and then she met me down at Harrison. And we decided to call up on the officer, and she asked me if it was okay, and I was like, yeah, you know. That's when I met Officer.
Was Kathy there when the officer showed up?
Yeah.
She hang out?
Yeah,
okay.
She was out there.
All right. And let me ask, why'd you decide to call after being in the hospital there? Or?
Just going in yesterday and just my body. I used to be bigger and everything, but then I got into dealing meth and all of that and just, doing it. And I don't know, it's just it's tearing my friends apart and my family. And I don't know, but I just pretty much need to just stop. I'm not getting any younger, man.
Well, this info, how old is it?
I've known it for roughly about 2 weeks. And I don't know, it's just been eating me alive. I think that's kind of why I went into the hospital. And they said I did have an ulcer, some form of ulcer, so from stress maybe or whatever. Yeah. And that kind of stuff just kills you, man.
Yeah.
I pretty much just want to, don't want to be affiliated with nobody, and I'm done with it.
All right.
So
let me get, you used to date Samantha, right?
Yeah, we've been, friends and everything for a while. So I've known the family for a long, long time. I actually knew Joe, too. So, for about 13 years, I want to say.
For about 13 years?
Yeah, since, middle school or high school, roughly around there.
And when did you guys date? When was that?
It's been off and on. The last previous one was probably about 2 years ago. We broke up about 2 years. We had a falling out. It was over drugs, actually. And kind of part ways. We were living in Tacoma. And
never had any kids or anything, did you?
No, we didn't.
So, I'm trying to think, how is Joe about your age, or is he a little bit younger?
I'm 28. Sam's about 28, so Joe's he was probably the middle. He was a grade under me in Sam.
Just one grade?
Yeah, so I'd say about 26, roughly.
Somewhere in there, somewhere. Okay.
They generally
are. All right. Yeah, I was just looking back. I hadn't realized it'd been that long already. It was 06 when he was reported missing. So so about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
I was visiting a friend. I was catching up with some friends named, Elena and Mitch. And they were living at this one house out in Seabeck. I get the owner was named Sean Forster at the time. I guess he's locked up right now.
Here in Kitsap County?
Yeah, that's what I've heard on the street. He's a big snitch. But his roommate Terry, Sean's roommate Terry, older guy, was dating a lady named Michelle, and that's where I got all that information from.
Okay. So Mitch and who? Lena?
Elena.
Elena.
Yeah.
Is it
Alyna? They know nothing about it, but that's who I was visiting. We actually had a falling out too. Okay. I don't really talk to them no more.
Do you think they heard this information?
No, they were in the other room at the time because they didn't like those two guys, Sean and what's the other guy? Sean and Terry. They didn't like him at all. So they moved out actually. And
just in case, do you know Mitch and Elena's last name?
I don't even know. I want to say Elena Strover.
What is it?
Strover. Strover, I think. Strover. And Mitch, I do not know.
Okay. Are they about your age too then?
Younger.
A little bit younger?
Yeah.
Is he a white guy?
He's a Filipino guy, like half Filipino, white. And Elena's just white.
White female. But you think it's something along Strover? Something along that
Yeah,
way?
Strover.
And you said you thought it was Alyna?
Alayna.
A-Y, okay.
But yeah.
That's a little bit different spelling.
They knew nothing about it. I didn't even really bring it up with them, you know.
All right. So the house is in Seabeck, right?
Seabeck, yeah. I don't know the address, but it's off of a road. I can show somebody there.
But it should be like Sean Forrester's house?
Yeah.
Is that right?
But yeah, and everyone's saying he's locked up.
He's locked up, okay. And then he has a roommate, Terry.
Terry, that was dating a lady named Michelle.
And would you know their last names by chance?
I do not.
Okay.
Like I really don't even talk to them. I was just there, and it was kind of just, doing drugs.
So if Mitch and Elena didn't hear this info, did you get into a conversation with Sean or Terry or?
Yeah, see, Mitch and Elena they weren't liking those guys, so they were on the other side of the house. So they're separate, like kind of a little mobile trailer type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh well, I'm gonna go hang out with them, so catch up. I don't want to make nothing feel uncomfortable. So I went in there. We did some drugs. It was actually in Terry's room, and Terry and Michelle were on the bed, and I was sitting on the stool. And then I don't know how it got brought up. I was pretty high and drunk, but all of a sudden it got into the Joe Pichler thing, and I was just like, they were like, do you know him? And I was just like, yeah, I do. I used to date the daughter. I said so. I don't remember like what I said, but and then I started like bullshitting because at the time it seemed like a little sketched.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, yeah, I have a kid with the daughter and all that, and I don't know. It went with the flow. I don't know. It's just one of those things that you have to bullshit just to get like more information out. And then she was saying that she was pretty good friends. Michelle was saying she was pretty good friends with the other side of the family, the Gibbons, which is the cousins of the Picklers.
And it's Gribbins?
Gribbins, yeah, Gribbin. And she just started talking about just like some in-depth shit, like the Gribbins knew about Joe death, or the family knows or something, but basically she gave me two names, and it was Sean Belgard that did it, and this is 110%. She swore to me that it was Sean Belgard, and it was, I don't know, like I said, I was drunk, but I know it's either Shane or Sonny was the other guy. So I was telling Officer Rivera that yesterday. I was like, Shane could be Sonny or Sonny could be Shane, so it's another guy. But I heard that Sonny was Sean Belgard's brother, so it could have been Sonny. But like I said, Shane could have been Sonny, so it's one of those dude names. But I know Sean Belgard's a guaranteed name. And then I asked Michelle, why didn't you ever say something or any of that? Why didn't you this information? Why didn't you ever say something? She said that she knew like the family and like the Gribbin family, and there's just too much, she'd probably get killed or something. That's what she was telling me. Yeah, it was pretty in depth though. And she told me like she knows that those are the two guys that they did it, and it was over a drug deal. And like I guess Joe owed money.
Well, let me pick your brain here a little bit. So, you had went to visit Mitch and Elena.
Yeah.
But you ended up talking to, was Sean and Terry there?
There was Terry and Michelle. Sean was in his other room.
So Sean technically wouldn't have anything to do with this either, then?
No.
This information?
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't know. Like, I heard the guy was a snitch, so I just did kind of like kept my distance away from him.
Okay, so like when Michelle was talking about this, it was you, Terry, and Michelle present. That was it. Okay. And you said, I thought you said, is it like a bedroom? Somebody's bedroom?
It was Terry's bedroom.
Terry's bedroom?
Yep. And I was sitting on the stool. like that. And there was a bed like this, and here's Terry and here's Michelle. They were just laying on it, like big as the headboard, and they were just smoking. And I was just sitting there on the stool, just conversating with them. Because they were asking me who I know and all this. That's how, it got brought up. And
Had you known these guys before, Terry and Michelle?
I've never, known them. That was actually the first time.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
So it's...
She was right, a couple, I know she was dead on. She seemed like a pretty, straightforward woman, an older woman. And you could tell, she wanted to say something about it. But, she didn't, maybe that's why she told me. I have no clue.
And it doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
but just to kind of put everything into perspective, you guys smoking weed or meth? Or?
We were smoking meth.
Yeah. Okay. And did you say you'd been drinking a little bit too?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just like beer or something?
No, yeah, beer, liquor, I think. Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
I remember enough that, though, because it kind of just blew my eye, my drunk.
And just let me, Michelle, how would you describe her?
Kind of in her 40s, about hair up to here. It's about, I don't want to say light brown, kind of dark blonde brown, a little heavy set. Kind of tomboyish.
White female? Black
White,
female?
yeah, she's white.
Any tattoos or anything like that you remember? Anything along those lines? Or scars or marks?
I honestly can't, yeah.
Okay.
I know where she lives.
Did she not live with Terry then?
No, that's her boyfriend.
That's her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Where does she live?
She lives over here by El Lehi, where the El Lehi is in that fire station. And then you I don't know the address, but I know how to get there because that house used to be one of my good friends named Aaron. That got snitched by Sean, supposedly, from what I heard. So he's doing time in prison.
Aaron who?
JP.
Hmm.
That whole little circle, man, they're all sketch, man. So this is why I don't really know much about them. But for her to tell me all of that,
Maybe I'll grab a map. Is it so? What is there? That four-way stop when you're going down towards Illahee State Park.
yeah.
So you head down the hill towards Illahee itself.
No, you hit that. You get to the other stop, so you can either go straight to Illahee or you can take a left, and there'll be a fire station over here. You kind of reveres like you're heading towards the dock.
Right.
The other Illahee dock instead of going to the actual national.
It kind of wise off there, doesn't it, by the fire station?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it wise a little bit, and you go down just a little bit more, and there's a house that goes up. It'll be on your left.
Oh, okay.
It's probably the second or third house. It's a dirt thing, and it goes up.
Okay. We can probably figure that out. And then tell me about Terry. What about him?
I don't really know much about him except.
Well, just white male, black male?
He's white. He's a little tall, kind of older guy. Wears glasses. Has a mustache. I think he has a mullet.
Has a mullet?
I think some kind of hair mullet type thing going on. He's pretty fit dude. Maybe tattoos. Man, I'm trying to think if he does.
What's older? What would that be?
I'd say maybe 45 at the last, 55 at the most.
Okay.
Probably way off. He just looked old.
Well, I'm just thinking, I'm in between there. So.
I'll take it back.
Yeah. Older to you. How about that?
I just feel once Michelle knows.
No, that's fine. I appreciate you coming in.
Protected.
It takes a lot sometimes when somebody has some information to come talk to the police.
I'm the only one that knows, I guess. I don't.
What did Kathy think about all of it?
She told me just, it was just weird because we had a bad falling out, like I said.
Oh, really?
After me and Sam broke up.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a lot for me to call, like, honestly.
So, I mean, honestly, how long has it been since you talked to Kathy?
Kathy and Sam were probably about 2 years.
About that 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no kidding. Especially after just being in the hospital.
And it just came out of nowhere. Like, I told her I've been in the lowest parts of Bremerton, like, selling and doing drugs, and that's probably the only way she could have found that info, because the whole entire thing was about drugs. What they were suspecting at first, right? Like, yeah.
So how is it that Michelle knows this information?
Because she knew the other side of the family, the Gribbon side. So she said that they knew. I didn't really get in depth about it. But She said like that side knew. And I was just like, really? And then I was like, so who did it? Like, honestly, and like she kept saying that she knew she did it, and I was like, who did it?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And she said, she's probably gonna get a lot of shit for this, but it was Sean Bilgard and Sonny or Shane or whatever the guy's name was. It's one of those two names.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean Bilgard was guaranteed.
I mean, is it a situation where, I mean, she doesn't have direct knowledge, right? Is she getting this from the Gribbons?
No, Sean actually, I think, told her. Like, they've known about it since that shit happened, like, back in 2006. They've known about this for a while.
Like, Michelle has known about this?
Yeah, that's what she told me.
So she got the info from Sean Belgard?
I have no clue, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was Sean, but yeah. She guaranteed it, and like she said it was Sean. I've asked about that name since the past 2 weeks, and I've heard these two guys are pretty pieces of shit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like they need to be put away kind of type guys, you know.
So we got info from maybe Sean Belgard himself. That's how Michelle got the info?
Yeah, because Sean, they used to, I guess, all kick it or something. They used to hang out and all that. And
do you know the Belgards?
I don't. That's the funniest thing. I don't know none of them.
What did Michelle say about them?
They said they're just really, like, pieces of shit guys, and that she wasn't the only one. Like, a lot of people have told me those guys are just some scandalous. They said fucks and all that, you know.
Okay, so what details did Michelle give you about it then?
She just told me it was those two, and that she knows where the body is at. It's in Lions Field, and it's on the. I want to say she said it was on the left side of the tennis court, and she said it was in the piping. That's all I know. Like, it was inside. They put his body in the pipe.
Okay.
That's when I started like tearing up. I was like, "Fuck, dude," you know.
Did
I don't want to hear this.
Does she know how like Joe came in contact with the Belgards?
I think it's from what I heard, Sean and the other guy, well, they sell coke. They're really like big coke dealers. You know? Man, Joe owed money. That was Joe's dealers, or it was somewhere along that line. Someone with their dealer, and he owed him money, and they knew they were maybe he was gonna get all that money when he turned 18, you know, or something. I don't know. But actually, what she told me was it was something that went wrong. You know, they didn't mean to hurt him or anything like that, just to make a point, and it went a little bit too far. That's what she said.
And I mean, does she know where it happened or anything like that?
I didn't.
But then Joe ended up in a tube. Is that what he said?
Yeah, they said that he's buried in Lions Field. I'm about 7% sure she said on the left-hand side, but it's by the tennis court and a piping or something. It's been covered by dirt. So. I mean, it was some in-depth stuff, you know. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's pretty.
Well, I mean, if
like,
any details, I'd like to get those from you if you have them. So buried at Lions Field
By the tennis court.
Maybe on the left side.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on the left.
By the tennis court. And it's like in a pipe or a tube or something like that?
She said like a water, like she was describing like a water, you know, like the ripple black, you know what I'm talking about, like the black piping that water comes out. I don't know, like you put it in the dirt, it's kind of like ripply, or I don't know.
Oh, corrugated, I guess they call it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's for water or something, but yeah, she said she's right around that area, he's buried in there.
And you said you thought it was covered by dirt now? Or the piping's covered by dirt?
Yeah, the piping's covered, or he's in some sort of pipe that's covered.
And is there any details how, like, something happened somewhere and they transport them there, or anything like that?
No, I didn't, but that's what I'm assuming. They probably did, you know.
And if, if they didn't mean to hurt him, but it went too far, did you hear what happened there? I mean, does it mean he died then?
That's what I'm guessing from there, and then from the piping line.
Does she have any details about that?
Well, she told me straight up he's dead.
He's dead?
Yeah, It was just really hard to hear.
Does she have any, what's that?
I said it was just hard to hear it, man. I was just like, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when you're that freaking tossed. You're just like, man.
And so, any details how he died?
He didn't get into it. Like, all she said was he died, and it was just a bad, like, drug, you know, thing that went wrong.
So
I don't know if it was about it had to do with money and just maybe like him owing money or something.
But nothing about like got shot or stabbed or choked him out or.
No, they didn't tell me none of that.
Right. Any other details you can think of?
That's about it.
Interesting.
Instead, like how when she brought up the Griffin side of the family and like how they knew. I went back to her house the next day with Michelle, because we went to go smoke some more, and one of the Griffins ended up showing up there. Her name was Kathy. Because I was telling Kathy about that yesterday, but when Kathy came in there, she was just like, trying to get some pills, or exchange some pills for some other pills, because her leg was hurt. She looked at me and was just like a big surprise, like, you know, like, oh, you know, I didn't know who the hell she was. I forgot what her name was. She didn't even know. Or she was just like, you didn't see me here or something like that, and I didn't see you here, but for one.
And who said that? Kathy Gribbins?
Yeah, because she was exchanging pills with Michelle about, she had Percocets and was trying to get Vicodins or some shit like that. And basically, she didn't want me to say something, which I don't even really remember, but she was a Kathy Gribbin. Because Kathy Pichler told me that Kathy Griffin called and said, yeah, that little guy, brown guy that Sam used to date was over here. So that pretty much kills the point of he didn't see me here and I didn't see you here there. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Not supposed to say anything, but she said something.
But yeah,
so you said the next day you actually go to Michelle's house, the one there in Illahee?
Yeah, she needed a ride out there, and it was actually Elena dropped us off over there. So.
Did you smoke meth that day too?
Yeah.
With Michelle?
That's right.
And
no, I was there.
How Elena ended up giving you a ride? Did you stay at like Sean's house?
Yeah, I stayed there, and then in the morning, like her boyfriend was at work, and then Elena, Michelle asked Elena if she can get a ride back to Bremerton, and I was just like, shit, I'll go. You know.
Do you remember what day it was by chance?
Say 2 weeks ago, but I don't know what day.
So I mean,
roughly.
I mean, do you think it was a weekend or work or
no? It was
weekday?
It was a weekday because they had to go to. Yeah.
Where does Mitch work?
Mitch, I have no clue. haven't talked to him the past couple of days. We've had a bad falling out.
Why is that?
Just over drugs and everything. This whole entire thing's been about drugs. I'm just like done, just done with it. That's why I'm just like, man, I don't want to snitch out nobody, but I feel like I just want to I want some protection. That's all. I'm just asking straight up. Pretty much can cover my own self, but yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe kind of as a summary. So you know Mitch and Elena,
Yeah.
and they happen to be living with Sean Forrester out in Seabeck.
Yeah.
And then there's Terry, that's a roommate of Sean's,
Yes, sir.
that lives there. And then Terry has a girlfriend, Michelle. And then while you had went to visit Mitch and Elena, you end up talking to Terry and Michelle.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And then just not knowing them, getting in a conversation about who you know and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then Pichler comes up.
Yeah, the Beck and Joe Pichler came up. And then she told me that she knew the cousins, the Gribbins, and they knew about it.
Did you say
I don't know.
the Gribbins are cousins, or the cousins is the last name too?
No, they're the cousins of the Picklers.
Cousins, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Michelle seems to have, I mean, is it fair to say firsthand knowledge?
I'm gonna say like how she was talking, and she seems pretty like, you know, like she's about her shit, like straight up.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm pretty much dead point. Like you guys.
So she thought there's like a Sean Bellegarde, and then it might be a Sonny or a Shane.
Those are like, I guess her friends or not her friends. I don't know. I didn't really get in depth, but she knew them pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
No. Knows them, so I don't know if they had a bad falling out in the recent years or whatever not, but she told me straight up that it was Sean Bellegarde and Sonny or Shane was the other name. Like I said, pretty much if we find Sean, you're gonna know who the other one is, Sonny or Shane. But the Sean Bellegarde, 100%.
So like Sean and then the other Bellegarde sound like they're dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joe would get his supply from Sean Bellegarde.
Yes. That's what it sounds like to me. Like
there might have been like some money owed. Joe owed some money.
That, or Joe was gonna get a larger amount of money, or I don't know. It has to do with money. I'm guessing, you know. But how she was just coming about it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Because she said owed. So.
Owed, okay. And then at some point something went wrong, and at least Sean Bellegarde, maybe through Michelle, had said that, you know, didn't mean to hurt him, but it just kind of went too far.
Yeah.
So eventually Joe's body, because she said he's dead,
Yeah, she said he's dead.
is buried in Lions Field. And it might be on the left side by the tennis courts, maybe some kind of water pipe or something underground.
Yeah, I was thinking like, yeah, piping, some sort of piping. Because if it was a water pipe, it'd just be one to like push the body.
I'm trying to think. I know there's the tennis courts up by Lebo.
Yeah, that's
Was there
the
tennis
one.
courts down closer to the water?
No, not one back then, like back in the day.
Is there some down there now?
I don't know.
Can't picture.
I just know she's sitting. I just know that one tennis court. It's right there, but it's a little close to the road. Though,
Right.
So it's got to be like.
I'm trying to think if there's a water station.
We used to
thing
drink
there.
down there when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like I had spots around there. I mean, like it kind of dips. I don't know.
Okay. Anything else you can think of?
Not at the moment. No, I don't know. I pretty much feel relieved about saying it. I don't know.
So it's kind of this, kind of the lifestyle that you've had here for a while, the drugs and that kind of stuff, and being sick.
I'm just done with it. I just don't want, everybody just getting on me, thinking I'm a snitch or anything. I mean, I went on Facebook and posted that I'm in Houston.
Oh yeah.
Texas, yeah. Trying to catch people off guard, but
Why would somebody think you're a snitch?
that was a big thing. I mean, like Michelle told me, and then if you guys talk to her, she's gonna probably be like, "Oh yeah, you know." Told him
Oh,
about
you mean
James,
if-
and then it's gonna lead to
if
other
it-
things. And it's,
If it came around that like the info came from you or something like that. I
it's
see.
just gonna get bigger and what it is. And I don't really have I don't really live anywhere. I've been just couch surfing it with, you know, selling, and that's all I do. I'm always on foot, you know.
Yeah.
So I have a number. I don't talk to my mom. I don't talk to my dad's in Korea because he's in the Merchant Marines.
Have you
Me and my mom hate each other once.
yeah.
So
Have you worked before?
no, yeah, I did roughly. I did roofing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty much. I'm pretty. It took me a while coming. Like I said, 2 weeks to come in here because I didn't want to fuck myself over. Really, you know, and make sure I was okay. But kind of came at it, you know.
All right. Anything else you can think of, James?
That's about it.
All right. I don't know. Let's see. So there's a detective that's actually assigned to the case. She's not here, so that's why I came to talk to you. I'm not sure what the next step would be.
Yeah.
You know, I remember working on the case a little bit. You know, when it first happened, but I haven't really had any. Haven't associated with it here in a while, so why don't I give you my business card?
Okay.
I'm not sure when the detective will be back, and you know, obviously they'll go through the sergeant too about the info, and they'll see how they'll want to work with it. So,
Okay.
is there a good way to get in touch with you then? You said you don't have a phone, or just no minutes?
I just don't have a phone.
Just don't have a phone?
Period. And
Yeah.
I don't really, like I said, since I'm getting out of this, I just don't have a place. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna go back and affiliate myself with a lot of people. It's just gonna bring me back to the same lifestyle. that I'm
What,
trying to get away from.
I can hold off on that for a minute. So, all right. I don't know. I suppose you could give me a call or something every few days or something like that. I don't know if there'd be any immediate action to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like, you know, the detective would go to Michelle and say, "Hey, James told me this."
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be one of those kind of things anyway. So it's probably one of those cases where, you know, they've interviewed hundreds of people, and it might just be, it could be something that they know about already or
Yeah.
have some info about. So like I said, it's not be, you know, it won't be like, you know, "Hey, James told me this," you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let me do that. Anything else?
That's about it.
That's about it? Okay. Well, I'll give you my card too, and then if you think of something, you can always give me a call. And then I've always learned too, you know, as a detective, if I don't ask the question, I don't get the answer. Anything I'm forgetting or not asking, that makes sense?
Yeah.
I've kind of covered it all?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm going to go turn off the camera. And if you just give me another minute, I'll be back here, okay?
Yes, sir.
Hold tight. All right.
No doubt.
What's that?
I'll say yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you are under
break it down. I'll show you how.
Your first name's James, right?
What?
What's your first name? James?
No, my name is Justin.
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 My name is not that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
What's your last name again?
Wells.
Yeah, okay. Hey, this is Detective Harker.
Hello, detective.
Hello. What time are you putting?
1441.
Okay.
Hey, just a little while ago I asked you if it was okay if we recorded our interview, and that was okay with
I
you?
gave you consent.
Cool. Okay.
What do you got on, man? I hear something.
What do you mean? Oh, this is just an MP3 player, but I'm listening to 50 Cent. It's a song. It's called "You Like My Style," and the hook, the chorus is like, "I know you like my style. You like how I break it down." It's real cool, man. It's just real kind of catchy, and it's well, it's perfect timing, I would say. Let's get to brass tacks.
Okay, well, I understand that you have some information about Joe Pichler.
Well, a lot of it's deduced information. It's like deduction, inferred logic. It's some of it's speculation, but I mean, to me, it adds up absolutely perfectly. And I believe that James Boyson committed the murder on Joe Pichler.
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Well, for short, it's Joe Pichler.
No, I know who Joe Pichler is, but the kid you said murdered him?
James Boyson.
I mean, do you have any first-hand knowledge?
Yes, he has rehearsed methods by which he would kill me. He's had me over to his house on a couple of occasions, and he has foreshadowed certain naive or innocent enough things by mentioning them in passing and then making good on them and then testing different kinds of methods that he would lure me into his element, bait me into his element, like with video games, memories, my ego, my desire for friends, because I was in such a poor way. I mean, I had receded into myself and I was suffering. I was going through a suffering. I ain't woken up or nothing like that. I was, being humbled, I guess you might say. And he appealed to me, and I accepted the label of friendship, be put on that relation, just because I was ready to forgive and accept that James, the man that James had become, for the sake of forgiveness and out of respect for the memories that he and I shared together. In any case, on one visit, he's showing me around his place or whatever, and he has in his back room a punching bag or whatever, and he, makes a comment about, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this removed, then I'm gonna get a breakdancing mat, I don't need this anymore, whatever. He didn't need a punching bag. He had already tried his strength on like orderlies and nurses and doctors and stuff like that over at Western State. I mean, he had really put his fists on real people, so he didn't need a punching bag. Bag don't hit back. He had already tested his strength. So he got rid of that, and then he was like, I'm gonna get a linoleum mat so I can break dance. And I was like, oh, cool, right on, man, that's awesome, and I was kind of like, that's real cool because, you're not like practicing putting your hands on people. You want to like bust out some dance. That's cool, man. I like that. I used to pop and everything back in the day. I used to be like a little b-boy of sorts or whatever, so I dig that culture, man. I lived it for a little while. And, my timelines are a little off, but at the time, with the knowledge that I had, I understood that Joe Pichler was missing. I had walked by or whatever, and I had seen the missing sign. And in a conversation that he and I had while I was in his company, he said to me that Joe Pichler killed himself. I was like, what? I omitted to him during that time that it was, to my knowledge, he was only missing. Now, I don't know if the police department had ever released, or his family had ever released, any information regarding a suicide note and a vehicle being placed out behind a Mexican restaurant whose name translates into the Hunters. There's been a person making emails and making false allegations and harassing that family, mocking them, I take it. And then his car and his personal belongings and a suicide note and his medications and everything else are, he goes missing here. And then 4 days later, his car shows up behind the Hunters. And I just come to find out today that this child that I met that's part of their family is named Hunter or whatever. And this is like coming together in a picture to me. It's miraculous, man. I don't care. It's miraculous how it's happening, man. It's a sad story, right? Either the information that's being given to me, no, it ain't in the case. James Boyson murdered Joe Pichler. What he did with the body, I don't know. I've never thought what am I gonna do with somebody's body? I've never tried to hide any bodies. In fact, that's why I wear a bald head. Alright, that's why I keep a clean-shaven face, because I ain't hide nothing. I don't know how to hide nothing. I ain't saving nothing for later. What you see is what you get, man. That's why I'm bald, so you can see the crown of my head. It's kind of like what do they call it, double entendre? No, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to be arrogant or audacious or nothing like that. My name's Justin. But, so, anyways, I digressed really bad. That's like one piece of the puzzle. Then you got what he actually occurred with me and what I experienced with him, We played a game together, Halo. A game called Halo. You fighting aliens, like a foreign covenant that's, coming in and trying to wipe out humanity. And then, you've got the Master Chief that's, fighting a good fight against these aliens and these foreign threats or whatever. The game's called Halo. It's a first-person shooter and stuff like that. And he's running in, bashing everything, close combat and stuff like that. I'm just hanging back, trying to support him, sniping, stuff like that. Trying to support him. He's like, oh, I see, we're on the same level, right? He wants me dead, man. There's something sinister about him. It's I don't know, I need to give you more evidence. So, after we're done playing video games, he asked me if he wants to play cards. Or while we're playing video games, okay, let me backtrack a minute. All right, while we're playing video games, he asked me if I want anything to drink, to which I replied, no, thank you. A couple of seconds go by, he asked me again, do you want something to drink? I say, yes, please, And then he's like, he doesn't go get it. Why wouldn't he go get the drink after he offered it? Because he was testing a method to poison me, right? He wanted to see if I would accept the drink from him, and then once I drink it, I'm drugged, right? And I'm done, I'm finished after that. Now, here's the other thing. He asked me if I want to play cards, right? A game called Magic, a little hobby that Joe Pichler also had. And, so it was real sketchy, man. I don't even know why I really allowed myself to be put in that position. I don't know why. Maybe I knew it, but I had to really see it to believe it. There was a part of me that really wanted to I'm getting ahead of myself. And the time frame, dude, it's such a convoluted series of events that's played out. It's really hard to describe, to give break it down. But here we are. You got the front living room with a table and chairs, a proper place to play a card game, and yet you're gonna bring a guy into the furthest room from the front door. Right? Most people, when they flee, they're not gonna go for the nearest exit. They're gonna go for wherever they came in at. They're gonna go back the way they came when they try to flee. When you run away, that's what you do. So you lead a man into a room that's devoid of anything except for a linoleum mat covering your carpet and play cards in there, and then you put the man in the room and put yourself between him and the exit, and you play a strategy card game with him, and he gives me a weak deck. The deck is weak. And I did the best I could with it. And I mean, it was such a weak deck. I played him cards down at Discordia. He couldn't beat me, man. he couldn't beat me. I had like owls flying over. Oh wait, it ain't just the bird. It ain't just, you know, the bird that delivered a good word. There's like a ninja rat there to take, you know, and I was like beating his backside silly. It probably just enraged him. I don't know. Me beating him like that because he's always been like a real smart, educated guy, and you know, me not so much. I mean, I dropped out of high school, man. I ain't a smart guy. But anyway, so we get done playing cards and stuff, and you know, he showed me some break dance, and I just wonder if that's another method that, you know, he would use to prepare to try to take me out, you know? I mean, do a little bit of it. It was so sloppy, and it was so fake, and it was so phony, and it was such a base attempt, and all I could do was just like, oh, you know, that's pretty decent, man. You know, you got practice, you know? It looks like you're too heavy or whatever, you know, trying to like, you know, but it was so fake, and I could just see his blood pumping, man, and he was like red in the face and breathing hard, and I'm looking at him, and I'm getting this vibe like, I'm like, I don't know, but I just, you know, started distancing myself. First I got out of that room, you know, and then it was like, I put the room between he and I had my hand on my left pocket, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm like 6 foot, you know, blah, 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 220 pounds. I'm like, how much you know, how tall are you know, what about you? I'm like, you know, I'm only 5'7", but, you know, I got my hand on my knife, this thing's open, and I'm sitting there cradling it, and I'm sitting there, you know, rocking up on my tiptoes, like, you know, I'm only maybe like, you know, 150 right now, but I like to say 250 or double it, because, you know, that's like my potential. I don't remember the exact number I give, but I like top potential, man. It's all potential, you feel me? You know, this, you know, and I like, you know, and he was like checking me, man, for fear, and I was like, you know, I knew that he was sinister, but I knew he wasn't going to attack me. You know, it was a different kind of like apprehension. It was like he was in disagreement with me, like a real sinister, menacing disagreement, you know. And then I was like, yo, I gotta go get some groceries, man, so I can eat. And then I left, and he walked with me down around the block or whatever. And then we parted ways that day. But then like he's just been haggling me so much on the phone, man. Like he had talked to me, and I've been humble. I got brought so low, I mean, to the edge of death, to the point where I was barely surviving. I was in such a way. I was just like barely getting by. And, you know, the only reason why I was alive was by the grace of my family, who was like taking me, grace of others, grace of God, man. That's the only reason that I made it, man. Because I wouldn't have fed myself. I didn't clean myself. I didn't take care of myself. I mean, I was in a bad way, and I was weak. When I was at my weakest, this guy just kept calling me and calling me and calling me, trying to appeal to me in different ways, you know, trying to appeal to me. He was like, dude, we like brothers, man. We supposed to do everything together. I'm like, hold up. We were brothers, man. I was like, yeah, you know, he's talking about we need to go watch the movies together, man, and you know, hang out, and I can help you study a tutor, because I want to go to college and stuff like that. Just keep playing into like all these things that he thinks I want to try to bait me out of my home, or my grandmother's home, into his element, so that he can commit the act that he was rehearsing. And I'm like, no, man, we can't do that. I was like, you know, yeah, you know, watching movies and stuff like that, laughing together, finish each other's sentences and brothers and all that, and, you know, yeah, we did that. We already lived that life, man. That's over. And I'm like trying to break up. It's like breaking up with a girlfriend that won't let go, man. You ever been through that when you was a kid? I'm being serious, dude. No, it's like you don't want to break your heart. You don't want to be too harsh, but you're trying to say like, hey, I'm not going to come hang out with you. I don't want to be near you. You know, without being, until yesterday morning, I went like really, was it yesterday morning? It was yesterday morning. I went real hard on him. I called him out. I asked him if he was my friend or my foe, man. And, you know, he hesitated. He's like trying to deflect the question. Like he couldn't give me a straight answer. I keep saying straight. I'm sorry. That's a street coming out. Street. I'm kidding. I'm mimicking a certain guy I know that played at being a street dude, but isn't really like a street dude. And he copying a guy I like. I mean, he's a phone, he's a fight, he's a fake. So I'm kind of like just putting that on tape.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
And how long's Joe been missing?
Since 06.
06.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
5.
5. Yeah. How did you come to get in contact with Mrs. Pichler and Samantha?
I walked straight over to their home today. Last night I stayed up all night. I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking about it. I wrote an email to Georgina Boyson, which is James Boyson's mother, and I told her, I said, listen, I actually wrote it to her before I contacted the authorities. But I was like, listen, I was like, you know, I need you to tell me everything you know about James, because see, there have also been 2 other very suspicious sudden suicides that have come upon people that have crossed through James Boyson's life. Georgina Boyson had a husband, or not a husband, but a boyfriend, and he died very suddenly, apparently had drinking himself to death. He drank himself to death. It's kind of weird because with the information that I got during for the circumstances of Joe Pichler, is he ended up calling a friend and said that he was drinking and didn't know why he couldn't stop. And then you have this man that you know, drank himself. Then you have this other guy. That was his mother's boyfriend. I can't remember his name, but you can ask Georgina Boyson, and she'll tell you this what she knows. If she's a wise woman, she's as good a woman as I think she is, and hope she is. She will tell you. And then the other gentleman who died suddenly via suicide was a gentleman that lived in James Boyson's basement for a number of years. And these are all people that have been very close to him and passed through his life and then died via suicide very suddenly.
Where does James live?
James lives on, let me see, 6. I think it would be 4th Street. I guess on if you're here on that Catholic school church, you know what I'm talking about, by Midtown, and then like I say, here's Koalafield or Quantifield or whatever. Like he lives a couple houses right here in these houses. Basically, a house given to him by the mental health thing or whatever, like the state for assistance and stuff like that. Like
Was that close to where that truck ran through the porch and into the house, right there? When we had the snow? There's a truck on 4th Street that slipped or something in the snow, and it went through, it was at the very end of Kiwanis Field on the west end. Crashed through the porch and then went into a house. Was that area? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, that's the area. I don't know anything about a truck or snow or hitting anybody's house.
How do you spell his last name? Is it Boycin?
No, I think it's like SON. I think there might be an E in it. It's like Boysenberry.
Okay.
Boysenberry or something. I don't know.
How old is he?
He's a couple of months younger than me.
And you're 23?
24.
24. So he's in 23?
Yeah, my birthday's in January. His is like February, March or something. I don't remember too much about that guy. He's almost gone.
Is he a white guy?
Yeah, he's a Caucasian male, about 6'2" or 6'4", about 220 pounds. Last time I seen him, he had long hair. His teeth was all rotten and crooked, and he has a laugh and a lip to him that's, it just belies the kind of mind that he has, man, which is just sick.
So, and have you ever met Joe Pichler?
When I was very young, I knew him. We played Magic together. I know he was a movie star, whatever. He was a good kid. We played Magic together. It was a card game, strategy game, and on one occasion I ended up, we struck a deal or whatever for I sold him my Magic cards or something like that, and then he had them, and whatever. And so besides that, though, I hadn't really any involvement with Joe Pichler directly. It's just a lot of his friends were my friends growing up. We played sports together, pee-wees together, baseball together. When we was young, before we was teenagers and stuff like that, like Patrick Perkins, Danny Smalley, I think it's Scott Logan. I don't know, Scott, I can't remember his last name, but Scott, that whole neighborhood was my childhood friends growing up, and we all played sports together and stuff like that. And, whoa, just another one. Anyways.
I mean, When's the last time you saw him? Or
Oh man, it's been ages, man. Like after junior high, you know, I mean, I was in foster care at about the age of like 12 or 13. I got placed into foster care. It just had to be that way. And, you know, I lived with a lot of different families and stuff like that. I moved around a lot. Sometimes it was like a deficiency in the family. Sometimes it was a deficiency in me. You know, it was kind of like I'd have to say, you know, I resisted some of the environments I put in as much as the environments like resisted against me. I don't know. I'm just talking about like reflection, you know. But
and then I think I asked, but I mean, you don't have any first-hand knowledge of what happened to Joe. I mean, like you were there, you witnessed something, or anything
no, this
like
is
that.
just a bunch of information that was like virtually delivered to me.
Okay.
Like
And then you said, were you walking by the big missing poster? And that's when James said something to you?
No.
Oh,
This is
okay.
like after I got, like I said, it's convoluted and it's complicated, but we were sitting down playing Halo, and then we played Gears of War, you know, and then you know, he was talking about, oh man, we on the same level now, this and that, like we were on different levels, because, you know, he was like kind of better at video games than me when we were younger, but now I'm like, I play video games on super hard mode, on hardcore mode, and I gotta impose my own rules to make the game fair. Otherwise, I break games too easy now. I don't know what it is. They get too easy. They don't make games where they used to. But anyways, so yeah, he was like, did you know, yeah, Joe Pichler killed himself. He said Joe Pichler. And I was like, all I had ever known about that thing was that Joe Pichler had gone missing. That he had gone missing. That's all I had ever seen was like the missing sign. But he said Joe Pichler
Let me call you back in an interview.
And I was like, you know, and that was actually the point that I like, yeah, I gotta go. And then we parted. I was standing on one side of the room. He was standing on the other side of the room. You know, and he'd be calling me, trying to create like this psychological cushion, like he's some crazy dude. No, he's a calculated, cold-blooded killer genius, yo. He's like...
So the first time he said something about Joe was at his house?
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
And how recently was that?
This was last year. I couldn't place the month. But I don't know. I could tell you just weird stuff, man. Like this kid, he's so jealous of me.
And then can you tell me again what he just blurted out something about...
Yeah, he said Joe killed himself, and we, like he played some magic cards together. Joe killed himself, and then I read this, the circumstances surrounding his disappearance, and it's like, you really want me to get real with you? You really want me to give you the big picture, man? You really want me to give you the big picture?
That's why you came here, right?
Okay, here we go. I was suspect of it for a long time, but for a long time I let it slide because I was divided, uncertain. There was like a, you know, I was sure, but I was unsure at the same time. Let me tell you how this played out, man. Okay? I'm talking to dudes that I know are crooked, corrupt dudes that are trying to like pose themselves as like some proper people and everything else. I'm talking about people that are like saying they're on the other side of the continent and they living real well and they fresh and they rich and everything else. You know, like dudes that, you know, betrayed me with a handshake when I was in the military. Like the kind of dude that like extorted me, you know. But anyways, I'm like thinking about this. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I know what's what. I don't know what the catalyst was. I can't remember anymore what the catalyst was, but I was like, I need to write that email. I was like, I have to write that email. I have to write that email to Georgina to get her to come in and cooperate so she can give dates and times like about the dudes that commit suicide, like when James Boyson had gone into these different things. And I had to write it, and then I told her what I knew. I was like, this is how it played out, and this is how I've always kind of looked at it, but now I'm like, I feel real sure of it. And oh my goodness, my God, I just articulate myself.
Have you ever written it down?
Just this one time. I mean,
No.
I told a friend of mine, and my friend gave me the tip. He gave me the tip. Like, I didn't have the full picture, but I was just bouncing. I was like, I was talking to him on the internet typing, and I was like, look, man, this guy wants to kill me, man. this guy really wants to kill me, and these are the reasons why I think he wants to kill me. And see, he's like thinking about going into law enforcement and everything else like that. He's talking to me. He was like my confidant. He was like, I talked to him more over the last year than I talked to any other person in my life, man. Like whenever I had a problem and stuff like that, man, I talked to him about it because I was going through some real rough times. A lot of my family and people around me are suffering, and it's like when I was in Iraq, the same thing was happening, but now here I'm in the States, and I felt like for a long time virtually powerless to help them and with the stuff that they're going through. And anyways, I told him, and he said, you know, he'd be always asking me, like, you know, do I hear voices, you know, and like, am I depressed, and what kind of medications do I take? He's inquiring of me, and I'm telling this to my friend who's going to school for criminal justice and stuff like that, and he's like, he's writing your suicide letter. And I was like, whoa. I was like, wow, you're right. You know, now that you think about it. And then, because I was telling him, like, look, dude, these 3 people have passed real close in his life, and they all mysteriously suddenly committed suicide, man. And then you just gave me that tip, like, bam, suicide note. I was like, okay, but Joe went missing. Like, there was, like, back when it was just a footnote, like last year, there was no information about there being a car found at the Mexican restaurant. It was just like a footnote on the missing persons list. Then I opened it up last night, like some catalyst tripped up something. Like, I think it was him calling me. He called me at the time that a guy was supposed to pick me up. See, there's there's a organization trying to set me up, man.
Who called you?
James Boyson called me at the time that a gentleman was supposed to be picking me up to take me out to the VA. And he's like, and I got on the phone with him. I didn't even allow him no room for nothing. And I talked to him, and I was like, you know, I told him, you know, I know what you did. I was like, are you my friend or my foe? And he hesitated, man. And, you know, he tried deflecting it. He tried giving me like a phony answer, like, we're brothers. And, you know, I'm like, no, we were brothers, man. I was like, listen, I know what you did. I mean, you know, your mother was my mother. She outraised me. I mean, I'm like yelling at this dude there. I mean, he was like a verbal chastising, like this cat. And he's like, dog, you're going to make me cry. I said, I'm sorry. I wasn't sorry. If you crying, good. You felt something. But I don't think he cried.
So, I mean, you grew up with James?
Yeah, I grew up with this kid.
In what way?
In what way? And like, we did everything together. We watched The Matrix together for the first time. We like got Pokemon cards for the first time. Like, he's asking me what Pokemon I am. I was like, I don't know, Abracadabra or whatever. You know.
I mean, you lived with him, Georgiana.
No, I visited regularly. Like, our relationship was such, like, from the 6th grade on, we became like really close friends, I guess, or associates. But, you know, he was always like real kind of abusive and stuff, you know. He would always like, you know, he would be all selfish and never share the video games and stuff like that. And I'd just be sitting there watching him play while he's playing them and stuff. And he would always like abuse me and do like real crooked stuff to me. And, you know, and then he's like, you know, tries to impose himself physically on me one day. Like, he started like really trying to be like the alpha. And I'm like, no, dog, I'm the alpha. I'm like the man in this relationship, dude. You ain't the man in this relationship, this friendship. And it came to a point, you know, I mean, dude, there was one time I was standing there, I was standing up, this kid was sitting down. I mean, he was taller than me at the time when we was this age, man, and he's sitting there with his cat toy whipping me in my arm, like whipping me with it. And he's like, I'll beat you up, you know, I'll beat your ASS and stuff. And I'm like, you know, in my mind, I mean, it was really weird how it happened. In my mind, I was like, if he lashes me one more time, because it was stinging. I was like, he hits me with the little cat toy or whatever one more time, I was gonna unload on him. Like, just, he didn't even see it coming, dude. He was so cocky and everything. He didn't even see it coming. He was so arrogant. He didn't even see it coming. And then, like, at a slumber party, we're sitting there playing cards or whatever, and everybody's being loud. Her mother comes out, or his mother her mother, I call it, I don't mean anything by that. It was a slip of the tongue. Maybe it wasn't. No, but seriously, his mother comes out, and she asked us to be quiet because she's trying to sleep. And, you know, we're young kids, we're all being loud or whatever, you know. But he had like 2 friends come over from Seattle. And it was these 2 kids, Justin and Jarrell. And so I don't know, he wanted to flex in front of his friends or whatever to make an impression. And he calls me out telling me to shut the F up. You gonna wake my mother. I'm like, what you talking about? You being as loud as I am. And somehow I had we had all been laying next to one another like this. Like Justin was on my left, Jarrell was on my right, and 2 African American kids. It was funny we shamed the name, James and Jarrell. It was just interesting, right? And then me and James in the middle, lying next to each other playing cards. But somehow, when he was talking, and I somehow distanced myself from him, that I was 5 feet away from him, where, and he threw a flashlight at my face. He said, shut the F up, and threw a flashlight at my face. I said to him, it was kind of a weird thing to say, because throw another flashlight at me, that sounds almost silly. I was like, you throw one more flashlight in my face, I'm gonna beat your ASS. This kid threw another flashlight on me. I was on him before I thought about it, dude. I was beating this kid. I was beating him so hard. I was whooping him so bad, he couldn't even fight back. He couldn't even fight back. My fury, my expertise, my commitment, my rage, my wrath, my revenge, my retribution, whatever you want to call it, was so thorough and was so called for that I just lumped him up. And when I couldn't get to his face, I just beat him on the crown of his head. And my fist started to hurt because I was hitting this dude in the bony part of his head, beating his face up. And then I was choking him out. I was like, James, I will effing kill you. I will kill you. I will end your life, man. I will choke the life right out from you. And this kid's face was turning purple, man. It's turning purple to the point where I was I had to let him go or I was going to kill him. I had to let him go or I was going to kill him. We was in the 6th grade when this happened, man. And he didn't put up a fight or nothing. He just took it, dude. He took it. This kid was bleeding out his face. He was lumped up and bruised so bad. And then, when I'm I get up, then he want to strike back. Then he want to, kick me in my chest as I'm getting up off him after I just laid into him. And I'm like, you want to kick me after I let you up? I'm like, stand up like a man and hit me. Stand up like a man and hit me. Fight me if you really a man. I'm calling him out, dude. I'm like, if you really do, this kid's taller than me, man. I'm like, you really do stand up and fight me. Stand up and fight me. And so he stands up, and this dude's so cowardly, dog. He got to stand to my left, and he's talking to these dudes like a straight up sucker puncher, man. And he's like, so what you're saying is you want me to hit me, like he's talking to his friends. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I told you, dude. And then he out with an elbow to the side of my head. Dude, I didn't even feel it, man. I was already getting the initiative back on him, swinging him around through the room. And then finally, his friends didn't step in for him not one time because they probably knew he deserved it, man. He deserved it. This kid, picking on people, being a bully, being malicious.
When you guys were still kids?
This is when we were kids, man. But you know what? The next morning, he was like, man, just go to bed. I was like, no, I ain't gonna go to bed. You gonna try something when I'm sleeping? You just snuck me with an elbow? You think I'm gonna go to sleep with you? Right next to you? You just snuck me with an elbow, man. Like a coward, like a snake, And then the next morning,
if he's like that, do you think he could kill somebody?
I absolutely do think he would kill somebody, and I think that he would go after somebody that's weaker than him. But the problem is, he's so blinded by his own brilliance. He think we on the same level, or he thinks that he better than me. But he ain't better than me. He can't beat me unless he sneaks me. He can't beat me unless he cheats me. He'd have to be the most vilest, wickedest. Today, he couldn't beat me.
Well, did he knew Joe then? He hung out with him?
No, he never hung out with him. He resented Joe. He was jealous of Joe. Joe was the movie star, had all the friends. This is the thing about James. James was real smart, but he wasn't a people person, man. He was like a social pariah, dude. I got the girls for both me and him. His girlfriend, Star, he got because I sweet talk both them honeys. Straight up.
How would he get to Joe? What do you think?
A similar interest.
So
Magic the Gathering. He confessed to me that he played Magic the Gathering with Joe, and then he says that Joe committed suicide. And I'm looking it up on my end, And there ain't nothing about no suicide.
I mean, like
note.
any, when he was playing cards with Joe?
I don't know.
I mean, this is close to the time of his death, or?
I don't know. Dude, when Joe Pichler died, I was in the military serving my country. I was on, what year did he die? 2006? Yeah, I was like probably January. I was in basic training, learning how to kill. Being trained how to kill, I put my Bible down and picked up an IET handbook. Was learning how to kill men. When, it's weird, man. It's so weird how it play out. On mid-tour leave, Georgina, she telling me about her son, that he's in the hospital and stuff, man. Yo, I walked right by this dude and didn't recognize him.
Well,
In the hospital. On mid-tour leave, I took time out. It broke my heart to see the man in the shape that he was. I thought the bad guy was a psychiatrist. Like, they broke him or something like that. No, I don't think so, man.
So, you went in the military?
Yeah, I was
Army, I take it?
Yeah,
Infantry?
I was Army infantryman. Yeah, man, I was
And when did you go in?
I was true blue, red till I'm dead, and my stripes was white, man. I went in November 22nd, 2005. That was like when that was my entry date into basic training. I spent like 5 months in basic. It was like, so it was supposed to be like 14 weeks or whatever, but I ended up having a Christmas exodus, which really saved my life going there because I was in so much pain, like my hips and everything else, from being in basic training, doing all the ranks. I was so out of shape and stuff, but there was like a 2-week break, and then back to basic training, and then from basic training to my unit, and then from unit, about a year after that, I deployed, and then about 14 months I come back, and then about a few months after that, I get out.
So what unit were you in?
I was in the 3rd Infantry Division, 1st Brigade, 369 Armor Company. I was Alpha Company. I said it all messed up, man. Alpha Company, 3rd Platoon. It broke down like this: Rocket 'em on, Raiders 1st.
When you went to Iraq?
Speed and Power.
Did you do your whole time over
Hard Rock Alpha, Black Sheep. No, I came back a month early, man.
Why a month early?
I don't want to get into that tale. I already told it today. I'm not telling it again. I'm going to get in that.
Did you get honorably discharged?
Yes, I got honorably discharged, but it was like a big old. It was a lot of deceit going on, man.
So when
I was trying to be a soldier, I was like a real dude trying to be a soldier. What I want to do, like, here's a problem with like Joe. Like when I was in the military, when I was in Iraq, right, I had just re-enlisted for 5 years. I wanted to be an infantryman. I wanted to continue to serve my country and do well and be in the Army. It was like something I believed in, right? The integrity, the public service and everything else, right? But it was killing me that all these problems was, that I was so far away from my family. So I re-enlisted for 5 years and a PCS to Fort Lewis, Washington, so that I could be closer to my family and still be in the military. I had like something to look forward to, right, when I got back from Iraq. But when I came back from mid-tour leave, my squad leader was dead. The other team leader in my squad was dead. I had a full new chain of command. It was, there's a long story to it, man, but everything was different. I had like a sergeant who was like hazing me and like projecting a racism onto me, and I ain't never known racism my whole life. Some of my best friends growing up, some of my friends or associates or people that I've run into and everything else were like African Americans, man, or there was no race thing, man. I never seen it like that. I was never a racist, There are people that I hated, but it was usually because, you hating on somebody else or something. Like, there's something flawed in you, man. Like, it was nothing like, I don't know. I can't describe it, dude, but,
like your platoon leader die in Iraq?
It wasn't a platoon leader. It was my squad leader.
Squad leader? Okay.
Yeah, Sergeant Butcher. But see, here's the thing, like, at the beginning of the deployment, I don't even know why we're talking about this, but the point is like I got pushed to a limit. I got pushed to a point where I gave up on all my hopes and aspirations. I gave up on everything. I decided not to kill or kill myself. Such was my distress. and in doing so, I did nothing. Now, Joe Pichler, he was a man of aspiration, right? 2 months until he gets his braces undone, was aspiring to go back to California to resume his acting career, was passionate about it, had just started working at a job for 2 months. Teletech pays pretty well. Plus, he was working at Discordia, which is like just fun and games all day. Joe Pichler was a people person. Teletech was probably easy for him. All he did was talk to people and help people with their phones all day, help people communicate. Come on, man. And then he go to his other job at Discordia and he's playing card games and like chilling with friends and working in an environment he likes. You telling me a kid like that is gonna like write a suicide letter to his brother saying he wish he would have been a better brother and had a bunch of pressed personal belongings inside a vehicle parked outside of a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, which was his favorite food, which is named The Hunters. Dude, last night, I had a Spanish man, a Mexican man, I guess like Native American, Hispanic descent or something like that, but no Spanish, man. This guy couldn't sleep. He had been snowboarding for like 3 days or whatever, right up on the slope, slept all day, and then couldn't sleep and came to me, right? And I'm sitting here looking at this restaurant, like, where's this restaurant? What's the significance of the restaurant? Okay, here's point A where he goes missing. 4 days later, point B, his car is found, immaculate condition, no sign of foul play. That's suspicious.
Where do you say he went missing? What's point A?
Magnuson, like Avenue or whatever, like his home or whatever.
Okay.
Like 2000 Magnuson Way or something like that. Up to Sheridan and Wheaton Way behind a restaurant. Dude, this guy, I was like, this restaurant, that's kind of weird. Like, there was a point in my life where I wished for death, man. Like, my suffering was such, I wished for death. I wanted somebody to mercy kill me, man. I walked across the bridge and to a hospital and checked myself in and told a bunch of people I was thinking about killing people just so they'd see me as a threat and kill me and put me out of my misery, right? Because my battalion commander always said, you see the threat, you kill the threat. Anyways, but it just seems so weird that the man would go from here, drive past a hospital drunk to the point where he can't stop drinking and doesn't know how to drink. But like, go missing here. 4 days later, his car ends up here, and there's a suicide note written in it about wishing he would have been a better brother and, blah, 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 and, whatever.
How do you know about that?
I read it on the internet.
About the being a better brother?
It was on the internet.
Was it?
Yeah. It was just released, I presume, because when I Googled, there was like alert, and then all the information was right there, bam, and it just fit together. Now check this out, right, man? Check this out. This man Cameron that came to me, that spoke Spanish and translated the name The Hunters, right? This kid was snowboarding, right? How about the coffee oasis? I did coffee, man. Yesterday I had a trial by fire. How about today the special is avalanche? How about the man that came to me because my brother Michael had said to him, it made like a joke about, being out of shape or whatever, and his, chest parts, whatever, boobies, I guess. And that's the reason why Cameron came over, plus he couldn't sleep. Plus, Joe Pichler had a guinea pig named Boobies, man.
Is that on the internet too?
Yeah, I read it on the webpage. That just miraculously came out of nowhere. Like, it was just, the information was just given to me. And I put it all together, and it makes way too much sense.
What's the webpage? What webpage is it?
It was just like endangered missing teen. Before it was just like on the missing persons list. I had looked it up before, but I didn't have enough evidence or enough things that I believe. I was, like I said, I was divided. I wasn't bold, I was undecided. Now I'm like decided and concrete, and I'm ready to enter into a testament against this man. Like, he killed James Boyson, man. Come on. I mean, come on. I'm talking to a guy on the phone a couple of nights ago or whatever, and he's telling me, and this guy is like a guy who's like so vain and so smart and so like, I'm so good, I shut people down. whoop whoop dude. He's like, yo, where, you ever seen a black toilet seat? And I'm like, I could just sense his like right out. I'm like, yeah, I seen a black toilet seat. He's like, where at, man? On a toilet. And he's like, yeah, but where? I'm like, a bathroom. And he's like, you got too much spice in you, man. You got too much spice and you need to be more base, man. Like, I would expect you to say Walmart. I'm like, nah, brother, you ask ambiguous questions, you're going to get ambiguous answers. That's the bottom line, man. If you ain't put what you asking into a context, I can't give you nothing. If you're not asking for it right, I can't give it to you the way you want it. And so this guy's telling me I'm too spicy, and I'm like, you know what? That's probably because of all the pepper I eat. Or maybe it's, got to do with something with me being tortured and subjected to a simulated death in Iraq where I died and didn't experience death, or there was death and I didn't die, however you would word that. Maybe it's all the pepper I eat. Maybe it's an overactive adrenal gland. Maybe it's just hostility. I said all this stuff to him, man. And then, I'm like, yo, I left like a gang of messages on his phone, dog. A gang of messages. Like, he knows, man.
On James's?
No. I'm talking about another dude that styles himself as a chief.
Justin,
So then, right, so I talked to this other gentleman. This guy's negligent. You can forget about him because he's just about as washed up as James is, and along with this other guy who I called Wash. Interesting, man, how that plays out. Listen, he told me I'm too spicy, and then there's an event in my phone that's like for today or whatever, and it's like, I gotta go tell him that, there's some guy murdered, he isn't missing, he's murdered, I know who did it. I have to go tell him. I walk into their house, man, and I didn't even see it because I was so brokenhearted about the message that I had to deliver to this family, and I didn't even see it. Here I am. I'm like, either I'm being given false information, but I don't think I'm getting false information. It makes too much sense, man.
Well, we're gonna follow it up.
Dude, check it out. This guy was telling me I was being too spicy, that I need to be more base, more alkaline or whatever, dude. I walk into the house. Yo, they're serving hot curry. I couldn't even smell it, man. I couldn't even smell this curry. I wasn't even hungry. I wasn't even looking at it like I wanted to eat it, dude. I'm flipping through Ecclesiastics and listening to 50 Cent, man. It sounds prophetic, man. It looks biblical to me, man. I'm looking around this house, man. They got Day of the Dead, Hispanic stuff up on the wall. They got all these peppers everywhere. I'm like, did you know I was coming today to tell you this? And they're like, no. I was like, so you ain't, because, I got to ask, man, because, sometimes people will put their hands in things thinking they're, doing stuff. And then, I'm like, so you telling me that you ain't got all this spice and all this pepper and all this everything, you ain't served me curry and everything else? My name is Justin, man. That's all I got to say. Justin.
Listen, as police officers, we have to have evidence.
Right, I know. It's a lot of, like I said.
So, a lot of things you're telling me is coincidence.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. In a court of law. Right, in a court of law. And that's why I told the family. I was like, the judicial system's fault. You're going to have burden of proof. You're going to have hearsay. You're going to have coincidence. You're going to have, just a gang of, little loopholes. The burden of proof is going to be on the prosecutor. It's going to be ugly. It's just going to be a mockery. It's a shame. It's a real travesty what occurs in court. It really is. Because you have these slick dudes that are letting dudes get away with murder, or people that are taking money for crimes. You can kill a dude and probably, just buy your way out of it today in the judicial system. It happens. I'm sure it happens. If you're a rich dude and, you do something reckless, you just pay a fine and you get let go. But I guess time is money, or somebody's looking at it like that somewhere. But see, this is what I told the family. I was like, what you need to do is, like I said, the judicial system is going to be slow. A lot of what I'm saying, isn't going to hold up in court of law, man law. So what you need to do is you need to judge him by the same way that he measures himself or measures everyone else.
You had to measure James?
Yeah, James Boyson. He's measuring everyone else as, unworthy or whatever, and he's better than him. And, he's communicated to me that he wants to be, he's really interested in Asian religion or philosophy or doctrine or whatever you want to call it and stuff like that. So I'm like, that's the same way that he had to be measured by. If he wants to style himself as a Tibetan monk, if that's what he has his sights set on, and he's like judging everything as karma or whatever, I'm like, you got to hit him with a dharma. I'm telling the family, the judicial system is going to be slow. I mean, putting evidence together is going to be slow. You got to get the confession out of him. He's either going to kill himself or he's going to confess, man. And what you do is called a dharma. It's a form of its Latin root means firm, and what it means is like justice, morality, stuff like that. Justice as in like punishment or whatever. And what it consists of is the offended people going to the offender and demanding that they give themselves up or that they confess to whatever. And what they do is they sit on that man's porch and they fast. And that's what I told him to do. I was like, he will understand it. He's a mastermind. He ain't playing checkers. He's like, go.
I mean, partly I was asking about when you're in the military. What was James doing? I mean, did he graduate high school?
He went on to college, kind of on calculus, in and out of hospitals and stuff like that.
For what?
Hurting people.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know, like orderlies and nurses and this and that. I don't know what he ever did to like get committed, like out in the civilian world, like outside of the hospital. I never knew what he did to get in there. I only ever heard about what he did while he was in there. It was like beat up doctors and assault nurses.
What hospitals?
Western State. He also went to a hospital out in Seattle for a little while. I don't know, I don't know like too much about like his hospital stuff. I kind of turned a blind eye to it, man. Like I really thought like when I saw how he had become when I seen him on my mid-tour leave, because I didn't see him for some time. I joined the military. Like I didn't see him for a long time. A lot of time passed. Like I got real. I did a 180 in my life, right? Turned away from everything that had failed me before, everything that I thought wasn't me, the whole process of elimination, right? I went out to Tacoma and stuff like that, got separated from them and stuff like that, and then I, went to live with one of my grandmothers, and then I joined the military. Well, first I went to Job Corps, and then I was like pursuing carpentry, because I was like, yeah, Jesus was a carpenter. That's awesome. And the guys that were teaching it seemed real professional, But anyways, it's so funny, man. There were like, Hispanics there talking to me, man, and asked me if I spoke Spanish and stuff like that. But anyways, I know I'm digressing.
Does James work anywhere?
He just goes to school. He takes a couple of classes, kind of like stays under the radar. Most of the studying he does, I think he does it either online or books that he's read or books like from, he's smart, man. He's either, check this out, he is so smart, like, it's like, I'm like listening to him talk, and I'm like malnourished.
I just watched Private Dicks, and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.